Alrighty, so this is going to be my review of Nightmare Time, Episode 1, the latest project from Team StarKid, a web series set in the same canon as the other Hatchetfield productions, The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals and Black Friday. Each episode has two different stories, and this week's were the Hatchetfield 8-Man and Watch Your World. Before we get into those, I just want to say I really loved the format of these readings, and I really didn't think I was going to. I've seen a lot of the readings happen during the pandemic, not really from StarKid so much. I guess I've done a couple, but from other people. And a lot of it's just been people sitting down, chilling the script, and like clearly not having read it in advance and not really having it rehearsed and just kind of going for it. And I mean, I understand why people find it entertaining. I just generally don't. I like a little bit more professionalism in that, and I guess I don't know. It's just not my thing. But I wanted to give this a chance, and I'm very glad I did. The production value of this was pretty much the best they could have done in the circumstances with Zoom and everything. People were wearing costumes. People had backgrounds as kind of their set. I think they might have had scripts. I have a feeling they must have. But it's very clear that they rehearsed this. They prepared for it. And the acting was just incredible. It didn't feel hampered. If they did have scripts with them, I couldn't really tell. It's just a guess. I don't know. But yeah, so I was impressed by the production. At the same time, I think it had just the right amount of playful spark that makes StarKid what StarKid is. And I was kind of surprised it showed up because I've seen that less in the Hatchetfield productions than in the previous ones. I think just in general, the Hatchetfield stuff is more, I guess, like less silly and more like kind of like chuckle comedy. And that's not necessarily like a bad thing if that's the intent. And I think that's the intent. It's supposed to be horror comedy, just kind of like focused on the story more than the laughs. But I think this episode had a great balance of story and laughs. Like it went really big on both sides, and I think that was just awesome. The way they did the songs, because this is a musical web series, was amazing. They pre-recorded the songs, so they weren't singing live or anything, but they pretty much seamlessly transitioned from, okay, we're talking to, okay, there's going to be a song now. And they filmed them in advance clearly, but like they had fun with it. They did costumes, they clearly edited it, and so the songs looked a bit more, it was like a little step above the Zoom call format, but like not like so big a step above that like the Zoom call format looked like crap in comparison. Not that it was crap, but like, it's not a professional stage music video and then going back to a Zoom call. It felt very appropriately fit in. The songs themselves were great. They worked better. They were more integrated into the second part of the episode than the first one. The 8-Man song they just kind of tacked on at the end, which, I mean, I don't know. I think it was a really good song, though, so it was fine. And I'm glad we got to see Jamie Lynn Beatty sing because she wasn't in the rest of this episode, although she and Kim and presumably Dylan and maybe Nicole are going to show up again in the future episodes, or not again, but they're going to show up. So I wasn't too disappointed by that, as long as we get to see them. Yeah. My other favorite song was the one, I don't know what the song's called, but they played it at the end of Watch Your World during the credits. It was just a great song. Jeff was singing it. It was just awesome. But yeah, they even have a theme song for this miniseries. It's just, the music was great. But my favorite thing, my favorite thing was the scripts and the story, particularly Watch Your World, but I'll do the 8-Man story first. The 8-Man story was just a lot of silly fun. It was definitely more comedy than horror, but I think that's fine. I think some of the Hatchetfield stories being more silly and some being more serious is a good balance, especially because if StarKid's going to be just focusing on the Hatchetfield stuff for the foreseeable future, I want to see as much variety as possible within that universe. Obviously, they're going to be using a lot of the same characters over and over, but again, it's in different universes though, like different, the Hatchetfield world. But yeah, you can see them do different things as the stories take place in alternate universes. And yeah, so like the tone can change a bit, and I think that's a good thing ultimately, just for the longevity of interest in the series. But yeah, 8-Man was definitely very silly. Some people have pointed out it was a bit cliched, but like that didn't bother me because it's kind of them making fun of like the cliches, kind of like StarKid has done with a lot of other things. And yeah, it was just a fun story. It was fun seeing certain characters return again. It was obvious based on the summary that was on Twitter beforehand. I'm not going to call this a spoiler, but Professor Higgins was in this episode, and his return did not disappoint. It was just so funny. But Watch Your World, I have to say, was probably the best script Nick and Matt Lang have done at least on their own, without anyone else, as them as just as a duo. Of all the StarKid things I've read or watched, I guess, from them, I think this was their best script as a duo. And lots of drama. This one was more serious than the 8-Man, which I think was appropriate, but they definitely took advantage of the opportunities for comedy, which is something I feel like they didn't do in like Black Friday. And again, that's a personal preference, but again, there's a lot of opportunities for some really good jokes in Black Friday, considering the concept, that I don't think they took advantage of. But with this one takes place in a theme park that goes wrong, and it's a creepy theme park. I won't say what, but yeah, they definitely played into that a lot, and I loved it. I also love that this one was about Bill and Alice, who were two of my favorite characters from Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals. I just wanted to see more of their relationship, and this really delivered. It was just awesome. The acting in this one in particular was so good, from Corey and Mariah especially. It was just amazing. I also really loved the villain of this one. I won't say any more, but it was really good. I'm saying really a lot, but like, it was really, really, really good, guys. What else? Yeah, I think both of these shows were a lot, or at least a little bit funnier than the other Hatchetfield stuff, like I said. Again, I know they're supposed to be horror comedies, maybe emphasis more on the horror, but these ones had a really good mix of both, and that is my favorite thing. I love when StarKid is really big on emotions and drama, and really big on the laughs, and these two, especially Watcher World, really delivered on that, so I was super happy. I would recommend watching the previous Hatchetfield shows before checking this out, because again, there's references and stuff. I'm pretty sure anyone watching, I was going to say Watcher World, Nightmare Time, I confuse those two a lot, I'm sorry, is going to have seen at least one, probably both of those shows. So again, I probably stating the obvious, preaching to the choir, but yeah, you should watch at least Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals before this episode in particular. I think some of the other episodes might focus more on the Black Friday characters, but this was definitely heavier on Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, although Watcher World had some Black Friday connections for sure. Yeah, I'm just thoroughly impressed. I definitely recommend buying tickets for the next ones. They're going to be on Saturdays for the next 2 weekends, and there's options for both watching live, and you can watch live or you can watch it after the fact. You just got to make sure you get the right ticket. So I will link to the description to StarKid's website below, so you can do that. This is kind of a rambly video, but I just wanted to share my thoughts. This is more casual than my videos usually are. It's a glowing endorsement for me, because I was only planning on checking out the first one because I didn't think I was going to like it that much, just because of the format, and I'm definitely buying tickets to the other two. So if that convinces you, I don't know. This is just getting weird now. Let me know your thoughts on what you thought of the first episode of Nightmare Time, and maybe I'll do more of these for the other two episodes. I don't know though, because I don't want to spoil something that's not available for free, and I want to encourage people to watch it. So maybe I'll just talk about it on Reddit or something. I don't know. Bye.